ladies and gentlemen. Game week 1 is in the books. Honestly, it felt like all this excitement going into the Premier League, and like we've already, James, 1 of 38 is already knocked off. What did you make of the weekend overall?
Interesting. A lot of shocks there. We did a prediction, and I fell short in a lot of departments. But I felt like it was a fun week. Seen some really good stuff there. A few new additions. Had a few shockers, like for instance, Bournemouth beating Villa. Big one overall. But the first week, I feel for a lot of people is my biggest thing is don't panic. Your team loses, doesn't make a difference. Your team wins, good, great start, great 3 points. But to me, the first game of the season doesn't really make that much. But the first five really don't make that much of a difference. To me,
No,
just better than
I'll be
kind of getting
honest.
your business.
I look at it like transfer window really. Well, up until the transfer window, I start paying attention to like the league table and form and how teams are playing after the transfer window. I think we've still got like just under a month left. So seriously, James, like the joke. A friend of mine made this joke earlier today. Man United are just 1 point behind Liverpool. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like obviously, all jokes aside, one game's been played, one team's drawn, one team's lost, but the point still remains. A team that you would imagine are going to be there or thereabouts for winning the thing. They're the team that's it's all doom and gloom with Manchester United based on today's performance. They're only a point behind them, so it's
And,
okay.
and my biggest rule to everybody: do not show me the league table till 10 games are gone. I don't want to see the
Yeah,
league table. I don't care about it. I just care about you
no,
getting wins. That's all. Don't
yeah,
show me how many points were off this and that. Just get wins. That's all
yeah,
I
and
care.
also fixture difficulty. Something we talk about all the time. There's only a certain point in the season, basically about halfway through, where everybody's played everybody once, and you can start to get a good feel for what's going on. Some teams won't have played hard fixtures yet. Some teams will have as you go forward through the league. But James, without any kind of further ado here, Fulham at home, 2-2 Liverpool. Thoughts on the game?
Very, very shocked. Very, very shocked on how good Fulham was, Jack. I was expecting them to roll over Liverpool, to turn up and win, especially the way Fulham have been like a yo-yo club in the past few years. I didn't expect this from them. Jack, I've been waiting for Mitrovic to show everybody the quality that he's had. Because yes, Jack, he scored 40 odd goals in the championship. That is not
Yeah.
easy. We know what this guy has. Like Jack, I'll tell you how great Mitrovic is. Is that somebody? What's the Juve striker's name again?
Morata?
No, 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 no.
Vlahovic?
Vlahovic. Thank you, Vlahovic. Somebody like Vlahovic is going head to head with Mitrovic for the number one spot in the Serbia national team. He is competing with a guy who's playing Champions League football, yeah, in his national team. This guy has quality to me to be a top eight striker in the Premier League. Like he can play in. I'm talking about your Evertons. In fact, even get
He,
even into an Arsenal team. He has
he
that
can
sort of
hit.
quality.
I think he can hit like Jimenez type numbers. I think that's the kind of thing you're talking about, right? It's that kind of upper middle ground where you're not going to put him up there with Haaland and like the big
Yeah,
bruisers, but he's that one kind of tier below where you're like, oh, okay,
exactly. But he could play for these teams. He has that quality. But to me, if he can show the consistency and hit a 18 plus goal mark there, Fulham will have a great chance of staying up. Like Jack, they were so impressive. Probably
yeah,
will feel unlucky that they didn't get away with didn't win all 3 points. Because when you look at Liverpool's two goals that were scored, they were very scruffy goals with the
right.
ball bouncing off Diaz and then Salah getting a bit of a ricochet and like gets tapping in. Fulham, they would be upset by that. But I mean, if you are Fulham, like whew, if they get it right with Mitrovic, serious contenders to stay up.
Also, I mean, starters you mean to go on Fulham. Like you just said there, James. If those are the kind of performances you're going to put in, especially at Craven Cottage, Andreas Pereira looked really really good. João Palhinha looked like the best holding midfielder in the Premier League. With just that one performance. So he's definitely top of the pile for team of the season right now in holding midfield. Liverpool, yeah, bit of a shame. Like say, I mean, I think they'll feel lucky that they even got anything out of the game. A little bit lackluster. Klopp blaming the dry pitch, which obviously made me laugh.
He
But
loves he loves these weird excuses, man. He's been doing this for years now.
he does. But again, still time left in the transfer market. See what happens with them, and also obviously the Anfield advantage is huge. So Liverpool fans, I would not overly
But
worry too much about
but
that
Jack,
one.
are you worried that last year one of Liverpool's biggest problems was the fact that early on they let Man City get a large lead against them, and
That could happen again
and like it
for
was a
sure.
big fault at the end. I remember Klopp talking about when Liverpool won the league in 2000 in like 20, he mentioned the fact how it was Liverpool, they must win every single game to beat this Manchester City team, and
Right.
dropping points like that in a game that's winnable, it might come to affect them. That's the sort of level that Man City and Liverpool have had now, where it's like a drop point here or there is detrimental to title hopes.
Well, again, you know, you know, my thoughts on Man City this year. You know, another over 100 points. Not going to rule it out. I'm really not. You know, this is the kind of level that they're at. Bournemouth upsetting Villa. You touched on that earlier. I mean, did you catch any of that game at all? Did you watch the highlights of that one? I mean, for me, it just looks like that early goal from Lerma 2 minutes in. I mean, that messes up the whole game plan if the home team scores 2 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Bournemouth. This wasn't really a game that I watched as much, but if I'm Aston Villa, I'm like, the hopes you guys have this year is your top 7, top 8 finish. If this is another disappointing season, you're going to be looking at Steven Gerrard thinking, "Ooh, are you the man for this job?"
James,
Yeah.
you know what? Quickly, he has the same win percentage as Gary Neville did at Valencia, at Villa. It's 35%. That's, you know, it's not being talked about, is it? I mean, I know everybody loves Steven Gerrard, and hey, listen, as a player, you know, I mean, him and Paul Scholes is maybe a bit of a coin toss, but you know, the whole Gerrard Lampard debate, I'm firmly in Gerrard's camp. As a manager, yeah, okay, what he did at Rangers was great, but I've not been blown away overly with what he's done at Villa yet.
100,
Yeah.
100%.
So moving on, Leeds 2-1. I mean, a little bit of a kind of a drab fixture, I think, in terms of teams who are going to be overly kind of competing. I don't think either of these teams are in danger of, you know, touching the European places or pushing any other teams over the edge. But I mean, did you catch any of that game? What did you make of that?
Again, it's one that I catched on Match of Day. Can't really remember much of the calls, Jack. If I'm being truthfully honest, I'm not gonna lie.
But these games do exist, unfortunately, and I'm sorry for any Leeds or Wolves fans watching. But yeah, you guys listen. I would hope that neither of you are in danger of going down here, but these kind of games will happen now and again. And without Marcelo Bielsa, the Leeds games aren't as fun.
Pedro Neto, Jack, did you see that outrageous piece of skill that he did where he chopped it and then there's a Russian roulette in between two players? Jack, he's a player that...
He's nice. I've said this for years. This is, to me, he was better than Jota, which is why when they sold Jota, I was like, no problem. They got Pedro Neto. They'll be fine. They've also, I believe, just announced Gonzalo Guedes from Valencia for, I want to say like 32 million. So again, there's another nice piece for Wolves. We'll see what they can do. James, Newcastle 2-0 against Nottingham Forest. But Fabian Schär scored a bit of a banger there as well. Any kind of thoughts on that game? Again, Nottingham Forest coming back. I think Nottingham Forest will be back when they play their first home game. That's kind of the big difference, isn't it?
I liked what I see from Newcastle. We mentioned our feel-good factor coming into this game. You felt it there, and I feel like once that goal went in there, you almost just felt this big lift-off. We mentioned also a huge thing for Newcastle this year is keep Callum Wilson fit. And you've seen what this guy has the ability to do. The goal was fantastic from him, his ability to, to play off the shoulder of the defender, get in, and Jack to finish with the outside of his foot, spin and pass at the goalkeeper. Absolutely outstanding. Big fan of him. He should be hitting the range of 50 goals in the Premier League this season. He has that ability.
With the support and cast around him too. I mean, lest we forget, like a fit Kieran Trippier, right? Bruno Guimaraes, like Miguel Almiron, like you got some serious players who are knocking in and around there who will be able to help him in a big way. Like I said, Forest, their season's really going to start when they have their first home game. That's when it's going to feel like they're back, and we'll see what kind of a fortress they can make their home ground. Spurs 4-1. I'm happy to say that I got the right amount of goals that Spurs scored, correct, 4, but I unfortunately got the Southampton goal. That kind of messed me up a little bit here. Again, like I think, James, we basically both nailed this in terms of our prediction. This is a really nice, easy fixture for Spurs. They can set down a marker. They can really show what they're about. They can score a lot of goals. But again, I'm not going to put too much weight into it just yet because it is Southampton and you are at the new Tottenham Stadium, right?
Oh, yeah, I feel Southampton.
James, Dejan Kulusevski is that guy, though. I feel so vindicated. I love Dejan Kulusevski, and I was hoping that kind of second part of last year wasn't just a kind of a purple patch of form. Mate, he's great. I love him.
Listen, Jack. Wow, he looks amazing. Absolutely
Electric.
amazing. He's a player that was linked to Arsenal heavily. At a point, what he's doing at Tottenham right now makes it even worse. The fact that he could have been an Arsenal player, but I think the best thing for Tottenham was the fact that when you looked at the game, Harry Kane and Son did not score, and they still managed to score 4 goals, which is absolutely brilliant on their side. Yes, they had a few own goals in there that looked a bit odd there, but to me, another big point for them was Ryan Sessegnon, Jack. He looked good. I wouldn't say he was absolutely outstanding, but you've seen glimpses of what he used to do at Fulham, especially
Yep.
being this goal scoring fullback, and to me, even the goal that he was able to take, like think about it, making that run from behind and like was able to beat Carl Walker Peters with a fantastic header. So that's definitely a big plus for them, and maybe it might be one that Conte can use. Like remember, like what he did with Victor Moses, kind of got the best out of him. Maybe he can do that with Ryan Sessegnon.
Again, I think Spurs are one of the 3 teams this year who can win the league. I do. They're last of those 3 teams, but I do think that there's a small percentage chance that Conte and the Spurs team with that attack can win the league this year. Again, I'm not going to get carried away by scoring a bunch of goals past the Southampton side, which I have going down this year. Moving on to kind of an interesting game. Everton, obviously, we know that Everton and Chelsea, that's kind of an interesting relationship. Chelsea usually do struggle at Goodison Park. A 45 plus 9 minutes of added time, penalty for Jorginho, just a 1-0 win there. James, Chelsea didn't look brilliant. I don't know how much better Everton looked as well.
Again, it was to me, it was a game. You know, when a game where you just had zero real quality going forward, as
Right.
in like Chelsea to me had great build up, but Jack is that final trigger, at times. And to me, the biggest thing for Chelsea, by the time the transfer window ends, is to find a goal scorer, Jack. Because I looked at certain moments there, the fact that Sterling was their striker at times, you had Kai Havertz being there, great rotations, but you need a vocal point. You need someone that
Right.
you're guaranteed to score goals. Sterling will get you goals. Kai Havertz will get you goals, but when you need that out and out number 9 sometimes to get goals. And to me, I look at Chelsea. They've always needed number 9 to be successful. You look at Chelsea's history, especially when winning the league. They had Diego Costa, Didier Drogba at their absolute best. So they need to find something to get them going. I'm worried about Chelsea, Jack. I'm not gonna lie.
James, me
I'm
too. I
worried
was
about
just
Chelsea.
about
It's
to
the
say.
first time I'm saying it. It looks a bit odd, but the one thing what they said is a big plus to them, Jack. Koulibaly and
Yep.
Thiago Silva, Jack, they look mustard together.
Yeah.
They looked really good together. Thiago Silva, who is aging, but he's aging like wine, Jack. He was outstanding. He was the man of the match in my opinion. So many times Everton had a chance where it's a final ball and he's making a fine interception. All right, I think he got caught only once in a game. Yeah, by a long ball, and that's gonna happen when like you're 38 years of age. Like I thought he was absolutely brilliant for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all change. That's my thing with Chelsea, and again, it's how you adapt with change. You can't lose Timo Werner and Lukaku. I mean, both of them didn't hit the heights that they wanted to hit when they were signed, but that is problematic. They've spent a lot of money and they've not made much money, so there's really not too much left of kind of wiggle room that they can really do without selling players. I mean, James, I see a lot of names in that Chelsea squad where I think, man, if you sell them now, you can get some money and bring in a nice kind of replacement there as well. So again, I've said this for a while. Chelsea and Manchester United, I really couple them together. I don't know what I'm going to get. And they're 2 of the kind of big players left in this transfer window where we could really see some movement. Leicester 2, Brentford 2. Leicester 2 up. Brentford made a comeback 2-2. I mean, again, this is not a game that I watched the whole thing, but I did catch the highlights again. Leicester. I talked about the momentum thing with Newcastle, just a lack of momentum for Leicester. There's talent there, there's players. I think Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic coach, an okay to good kind of manager. But again, there does seem to be a little bit of like, we're waiting to sell one of our better players, Fofana, for loads of money, then we can spend some money. And it's like, man, if you want to try and get better, you've got to actually go out and try and get better. You can still sign players and then sell players and not have to replace them because you've signed them already,
But my biggest thing is that why sign players right now, Jack? You're gonna have 4 or 5. If you want to sign 2, 3 players, that's a lot to bring in and just implement straight away.
Yeah.
Like your squad don't seem settled at this moment in time. Let's say if you brought in 2, 3 players and you want to add another 2 or 3, that's fine. But just to bring them all in, coming like and like the season's already started, to me doesn't make sense. Because if you're a coach, you don't know what you're gonna have yet.
No.
You don't know what your squad's gonna look like by the end of it, which is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, no, look, I'm with you. But yeah, credit where credit's due for Brentford. I think, James, we talked about, well, I certainly talked about this in my table prediction. Thomas Frank, this Brentford team, there is a culture, there is a togetherness, and these guys will be a pain in the neck. And I do think that these guys will be okay. I don't think they're going to stick around like maybe somebody like a Crystal Palace sticks around, but I think that they'll be here for a good few years, especially under Thomas Frank, because there's a real good spirit about that Brentford team, especially away from home, making a comeback from 2-0 to 2-2. Manchester United, Brighton. I mean, this is kind of the big one. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, Liverpool drawing at Fulham, that's, unacceptable, sure, whatever. But this is the real kind of woe one, right? I think it's Brighton's first ever time they're ever beating Manchester United at Old Trafford. No Martial. So then Christian Eriksen's playing as a false nine, and it's all doom and gloom, and it's all this and it's all that. Ronaldo then comes on. I was talking with friends today, James. Manchester United can't stay out of drama, can they? They just can't.
This is just same old nonsense for Manchester United. And to be fair with Erik ten Hag, I'm not going to criticize him yet, because it's Jack. As I said, it's one
He'll
game.
come good. I have total faith in him.
Everything can change. I've seen some nice bits about him. I'll give you, to me, a plus for Manchester United. Christian Eriksen, Jack, looked really, really good.
He did.
And if you're somebody like Bruno Fernandes right now, if you're having a battle between who you're picking, Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, I'm probably going for Eriksen at this moment, like, of time for that attacking midfielder spot. But I like certain bits that they have there. Players like Rashford and Jadon Sancho need to find their confidence, Jack. It's Manchester United will not be successful if both of them and Martial can't get going, because the final ball today, at times, the confidence when they got into these opportunities was not good at all. Yeah, the final pass for Manchester United was awful. But I look at this from this point of view. The biggest thing I mention this every single video is that Manchester United midfield, they are not going to do anything with Fred and McTominay there.
No,
seriously,
they're not making top four.
If Man United want to be successful, they want to be successful. And this is there's no hate towards Fred and McTominay. In fact, I like them, and they should.
I really like
this Manchester United team. But for both of them to be the out-and-out starters there, to me, is a no-no. It's just an absolute. And if they don't fix it, Jack, you see more of these results. You're going to see loads of them there. On the other side, Jack, Brighton, brilliant. Danny Welbeck is a player who, is kind of gone under the radar for many years, especially since he's left Arsenal in Manchester United. But he still has it. He was a thorn in Manchester United side today. The run he made for the goal, Trossard. I think he has a great record in Manchester. I think Manchester United scored like 4 or 5 goals at Old Trafford, or like against Manchester United. 2 goals for him today. Brilliant. Yeah. Again, Brighton, they did absolutely fantastic. I feel the fact that they were able to, they went through a 20-minute spell where the crowd was really getting going. The fact that new start, they seen nice bits, nice runs from Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen. And then once Brighton kind of calmed down a little bit, and then they were able to get their hold of the game, they had a 15-minute spell where they created chance after chance, scored their goals, and that's all they need. Should have had a penalty.
Unbelievable that wasn't given.
Listen, VAR.
I had people telling me, shoulder to shoulder. I go, what? Whose shoulder is like in the middle of their back?
When I seen it at first, it looked like a shoulder to shoulder, but when they show from the proper angle, it's a blatant penalty. It's a shoulder to the back. I don't know how VAR don't see that.
Speaking of that, though, I thought Lisandro Martinez looked really, really good. I saw him win headers. I didn't see the height thing being a problem. I'm sick of that narrative anyway. Couple of things from me. They need to get over this pride thing with Harry Maguire. James, Harry Maguire is garbage.
I don't think he was that bad today. Do you know? I don't think he was that
terrible. He was appalling. Because again, James, it's the little things. It's the little things. A pass completed, and then a pass completed to the right area, which progresses player. 2 very, very different things. Communication with Martinez. I know it's a new partner, but again, wasn't very good. And you talk about, what you need from a centre back playing for a club like Manchester United. You don't want blocks and interceptions and these kind of things. It's a different role you need to play when you're at a big club, being the centre back. So again, this team will go nowhere with Harry Maguire at centre back. It's a real problem. He needs to be a backup or he needs to be sold, and they just need to swallow their pride on that one. You talked about it, Fred McTominay. These guys are not good enough. These are good enough squad players, but starters week in, week out, absolutely not. I think I saw more highlights from academy guys in holding midfield who would do a better job than those two would. And James, your points about Sancho and Rashford, I understand what you mean about the confidence thing, but again, I saw a lot of stuff that was neat and tidy, and a lot of stuff that felt like it was more drilled to me than anything else. And the striker position is problematic.
But my thing with that is that I don't want my wingers to be neat and tidy. I want you to be able to, as soon as you receive the ball, tunnel vision. Can you beat this your fullback? Can you get the ball into the box? I didn't see enough of that rootlessness.
Yes, that's true, but I don't think that's the Eric Ten Hag. I think it's passing and it's movement off the ball. That's where your attacking mentality comes from.
Jack, they had players. He had coached up players like Anthony, who's to me not a guy who's known for passing the ball or following instructions. He was just an artist, and that's what I feel like. Someone like Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford need to be. They need to go back and just find that rawness about them again, that lack of fearlessness.
But yeah, like, again, poor performance, but like we've said and we've kind of joked about, guys, they're a point off Liverpool. They're doing okay, all right? It's been one game.
Relax. And seriously,
relax. Eric Ten Hag, I think, will be great. I actually really do think he'll be really, really good. The squad just needs to find itself. They need to get used to it, and the relationships need to be built, because there's been a lot of change at that football club in terms of personnel. West Ham 0, Man City 2 to round off the weekend. Erling Haaland with a brace, James. I mean, I know one of them was a penalty, but this guy, he's here to stay, and he's going to be a problem.
Jack, we had a conversation about Erling Haaland, and you were talking about how many goals he scored. And you were like, "Oh, James, it's the Premier League. It's I'm not Jack. Erling Haaland don't care where it is. He eats goals, Jack. That's who he is. Do you know what made me scared about Erling Haaland was the game against Liverpool. That point blank miss he had. He didn't hold his hand to his head. He didn't show a shocked face. He smiled.
Oh no, well, that's what, dude. I liked that. I was like,
that's what I'm saying. That sort of fearlessness. Oh, I missed this one. I'm gonna score the next one. That to me, that's what scared me. And I seen bits in that Liverpool game with the runs that he was making. I said that, listen, when Man City get this right, it's going to be a problem. Jack, you mentioned the penalty. Who won the penalty, Jack? It was he. No, he won the penalty from the movement he made. Gundogan was fantastic with the turn and pass. Brilliant there. But he made a penalty. He took it. The second goal, Jack, we're going to see so many of them. Yep. Listen, Thierry Henry's record of, I know Kevin De Bruyne already equaled it, but this is another year that he could break it. Seriously. This guy's going to make runs. This guy's going to score goals. Jack, he could have easily got a hat-trick. Don't be surprised next week you see another 2-3 goals. I'm telling you, look, Mo Salah's record of what, 32 goals or 33 goals?
That's where I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not on that yet. I'm really
Watch
not.
This guy eat goals. He eats goals.
No, look, James, you and I both picked him as top goal scorer. So don't think he's going to score another goal. This guy's going to score a lot of goals. But what I am saying is, records are made to be broken. In your first season, I don't know. It's a lot to ask. With injuries as well, Erling Haaland loves an injury as well. Obviously, I'm knocking on wood. That's not something I want. But again, the sustainability over the course of an entire season, James, the more and more film there is on the way to play Erling Haaland, the more and more defenses are going to keep an eye on him and how he does his movements at Manchester City, and they're going to be able to not stop him, but make it harder for him than these first few weeks where he can just be allowed to do whatever he wants. Again, I'm still picking him as top goal scorer. He will be top goal scorer, I have no doubt. But breaking records in his first year, I don't know. West Ham, this isn't West Ham yet. It's really not. Gianluca Scamacca is going to make a huge, huge impact on this team. The Mikel Antonio era, as fun as it was, and as much as I absolutely love him to bits, it's over. We need to wait for Gianluca Scamacca to get fit, to get going, see what this West Ham team are going to look like. Reports came out as well about players, like Ben Rama and Vlasic, who they're willing to sell. So maybe there's some more players coming in too. But West Ham, I'm not if I'm West Ham, I'm not looking at this as like a worried kind of game. You know, you're playing Man City. These guys, in my view, are going to just not walk the league, but they're going to make it look reasonably easy this season. And West Ham should not be too worried about it, I wouldn't say. Any surprises from the weekend, mate?
By the Fulham game, and obviously Brighton to me getting the victory straight off the bat, like had me like whoa. But yeah, I feel like it was a good. The one that we didn't touch was the Arsenal game, of course, guys. We've already reacted to that. Obviously,
Yep.
Arsenal looked good, not great in my eyes, certain like certain parts of it. But I just think the first week, Jack, you know, let's see how a couple teams look. No team should panic. Just get a win. Just get a win under your belt. Get a few points in. That's all.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't feel too many surprises either. Maybe that Fulham game, I think that is the one, especially with the way they look like they played. That was probably the biggest surprise. But it did seem to be largely business as usual, kind of across the board. Two biggest wild cards, though, for me, James, going forward: Chelsea, Man United. These are two teams. I mean, that Chelsea game, I think, and especially with Timo Werner going as well. You know, Chelsea need to get their act together in terms of bringing in some players. And Manchester United, you know, I guarantee you they'll have looked at that performance as well. All the protests at Old Trafford today as well. They're going to want to get their act together as well. So the next, I think we've got 3.5 weeks left of this transfer window. Two big hitters in Manchester United and Chelsea could make some serious changes to shake up this league. Guys, let us know what you thought of this first game week. Right? Did your team win? Let us know. How did your fantasy team?
My team won.
Mine didn't do very well. My fantasy team didn't do very well. But anyway, obviously next week we do have Serie A back in the game with Roma. We're going for a title challenge, I think, this year, or at least that's what we're hoping for. Although I'm terrified of Romelu Lukaku wearing Nerazzurri colours. But guys, drop a like on the video if you have liked what you've seen. We will try and do this every single week, reacting to the game week and just cover some of the main talking points. While you're down there, please check that you're subscribed. If you're not, hit that button, hit the bell as well, so you know when James and I are going to be posting. James, anything else from you, mate?
Guys, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you, boys and girls, next time.